If you own a business and you carry insurance for the business, you should know that when that policy expires at the end of the term, you are going to get outreach to conduct an insurance audit on that policy. Now, if you're newer in business and you're just now carrying insurance for the first time, maybe you're not aware that the policy will be audited. What happens if I don't comply? What happens if I don't finish my audit? Not complying with your audit will have negative effects on your policy. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about 6 of those negative effects and give you reasons why you should absolutely comply with your insurance audit. Hey guys, my name is Mike. I'm the co-founder and CEO of an insurance agency in San Diego, California. If you like my YouTube channel and you find my videos to be helpful, remember to like this video, comment below. I like to respond to all comments and questions. What happens if I don't comply with my insurance audit? Now, if you're a business owner and you carry general liability, you carry work comp, you have a business owner policy, a commercial package, at the end of that term, you're going to receive an audit, and the insurance company audits to make sure that the projected or estimated exposures for the policy term were accurate, charging the correct premium for the risk and the exposure. Depending on the type of policy, those audits can differ. The things that they look at can differ. Generally speaking, they're going to look at similar types of documentation, such as your company financials. If it's general liability, they're going to ask to see subcontractor agreements. So they're going to make sure that they have the correct risk, that they price the risk appropriately. In a lot of cases, for example, in workers' compensation, they have to audit because the data and the final payroll that they audit goes back to the bureau, and that has a lot of determination in your experience modification factor and the ways that your policies are charged or billed. So what could go wrong if you don't comply? Now, in our agency, we've put a lot of structure, a lot of workflows and processes in place, educational materials to advise our customers of the importance of complying with an audit. We help them comply, act as a middleman between the insurance marketplace and our customer. The question comes is, what happens if you don't comply with your audit? What could go wrong? Well, lots could go wrong. The first thing that could go wrong is a policy cancellation. Your insurance company has the right, if they're not given the correct information to appropriately represent you, they could cancel your policy. Now, of course, they have to provide proper notification of the cancellation, but they could cancel your policy. And that's especially true if you renewed your policy. If you don't comply with the audit for the expired policy, they can cancel your current policy. We see that happen, or we see that warning come out pretty often. You want to make sure that you're not only completing the audit, but you're doing so in a timely manner, because that will eliminate the chance or the risk of them canceling your current policy. Now, of course, a policy cancellation is never good, but policy cancellation is a risk for not complying. The second thing that could happen is you could receive a non-cooperative or non-compliant audit bill. Insurance companies have the right to bill you multiple times of the premium that you paid because you didn't comply with the audit. Sometimes we see it as high as 3 times the premium from the previous term. For example, if you had a work comp policy that was $10,000 in premium, if you're reporting your payrolls, they could bill you $30,000 for a non-cooperative audit. They can bill you up to a certain amount of premium based on what you projected your premium to be if you do not comply with the audit. Now, a non-cooperative audit bill, it's painful. I mean, it really creates a lot of issues because, first of all, no one wants to get a bill that they weren't expecting. No one wants to see a bill that's 3 times what their premium that they paid. I mean, it doesn't make anybody happy. And then to unravel that, you have to go back, dispute the audit, conduct the audit, and make sure that they back out the bill that they produced. Creates a lot of issues. Again, people don't like to get unexpected bills. The next thing is a policy non-renewal. Insurance carriers have niches. So if you're in certain industries and you've been placed by your agent or your broker or your representative with a specific carrier, getting a non-renewal is not a good thing. Anytime you switch insurance policies from one carrier to another, you could risk having policy forms that contradict each other and creating gaps of coverage. Getting a non-renewal or forcing a business to shift insurance companies because of non-compliance with an audit is a real risk and detriment to the company. So you don't want to get a policy non-renewal and then have to shift gears because you didn't comply with your audit. Now you could wind up with a carrier that might not be as good of a fit for your business, might not be as good of coverage for your business, maybe more expensive. So lots of things could change because of that non-renewal. And you don't want to have that happen simply because you didn't comply with your audit. The next issue I want to talk about because of non-compliance goes along the same lines, is increased insurance costs. There's a reason why your insurance agent, your insurance broker, or even yourself placed your business with a specific carrier. A lot of that has to do with costs. And if you don't comply, now you lose the opportunity to continue to insure with that company. It could wind up increasing your costs with other companies. Now you have to shift gears to other companies where the deductibles could be higher. Policy forms could be more restrictive. You could have more exclusions, more warranties, sublimits. There's so many things, higher retention. You could increase your costs and your risk by having to shift to a different insurance company because you didn't comply with your audit. The next one I want to talk about, and this is a big one, is increased experience modification factors. If you don't know what an experience modification factor is, and you have a workers' compensation policy, you need to make yourself familiar with that. Such a big factor that determines the cost and the prices that you pay, especially when you're talking about competition in your industry. If your experience modification factor increases because you didn't perform your audit, now you're paying X amount of dollars or X percentage of dollars more on your rate than your competition, than your industry peers. You don't want to have an increased experience modification factor on your work comp policy because you didn't comply with your work comp audit. That's a horrible reason why to pay more money than you have to. Comply with the audit. It's going to help. Now, what happens is the reason why the experience modification factor increases is because when your insurance company provides the data to the bureau that's producing the mod factor, now they are not considering your audited payrolls, but they're still using claims, if you had claims, the amount paid and the amount reserved, and the expected claims based on your classification code. But you're not getting the benefit of your audited payroll. So you want to make sure you comply with your work comp audit to ensure that your insurance company understands your payrolls, audits your payrolls, and then files the data with the bureau that includes your payroll, your claims if you had any, and your expected claims. And the sixth reason, and is a very important reason, is that you could lose your representation. You know, if you have an insurance agency that you really like to work with, if you have an insurance broker that you really like to work with, they do a good job for you, but you're not complying with your audits, you're causing them to have to answer to the insurance company, to have to get multiple follow-ups from the insurance company, from the auditors, the back and forth, the in-between. And eventually they could say, well, you know, although I do appreciate the business that this person has provided or this business has provided me, it's no longer for us a value to have to every year go through these problems with an audit. Some insurance companies, some insurance agencies, some insurance brokerages, one non-compliant audit or one audit issue is enough for them to release their representation on the account and no longer represent you as a business. The same goes for direct writers, the same goes for captives. They may no longer want to work with you or work with the business that doesn't comply or keep their business in line. Think of that as a real possibility. Think of that as a negative consequence of not complying with your audit. Appreciate and enjoy working with the agency, broker, or insurance representation that you have. So I gave you 6 negative consequences that could come from non-compliance of your insurance audit. If you're a business owner, expect an audit to happen on your expired insurance policy. Most carriers are going to perform an audit, some because they have to, but others because they want to make sure they're getting the right premium for the risk. And in some cases, you could get a refund if you overestimated or overpaid your exposures on the policy. Make sure you have a great agency or representation that understands the process of an audit and that can help get involved if you have any questions or pains when it comes to complying or finishing your final audit. If you need help, you're looking for an agency that focuses highly on this type of situation and has a great process and procedures surrounding insurance audits, you can call us at 858-384-1506 or email hello@foagency.com. We will get back to you. If you visit our website at foagency.com, you will find other ways that you can communicate with us, whether it's text message, live chat, or web form. Feel free to reach out. We're happy to help. And thank you again for watching another video. We'll see you on another one soon. Take care.